Previously on The Walking Dead. I'm not letting my men take 5 armed strangers into Hilltop.
I say we take our chances, okay?
I should be dead. Please help me.
It's taken a stubborn interest in blacksmithing.
Oh, we might be able to help with that.
Don't let them get away.
We found Rosita outside the walls yesterday, and Eugene's missing. We're headed up to go find him.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Indie Radio presents Talking About Walkers, the Walking Dead podcast, the show that breaks down all new episodes of your favorite zombie TV show right here on indieradio.org. And now, here are the hosts of the podcast, Kinte, Jen, and Olaf. Hello, and welcome to an all-new episode of Talking About Walkers, the Walking Dead podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kinte, all the way live from Los Angeles, California, and I'm so happy to be here with you tonight. Tonight, we'll be talking about the mid-season finale of The Walking Dead. And let me introduce my co-host. I'm going to start off with the one and only Jen. How you doing?
Great. Really good. A little bit disconcerted that this is the season mid-finale. Ugh.
Yeah.
I feel like time is just slipping right by. Where did November go?
I know, right? It's over.
Previously.
Man, what is going on?
I feel like we are so close to the end of the year that I can almost smell the gunpowder and the fireworks. It's a little scary.
Also joining us is the one and only Olaf Barbosa. How you doing, Captain Olaf?
I am doing fantastic. It's been another great day in the great state of Indiana. It's again, as Jen says, it's already the mid-season finale. Really? Wow. Time has flown.
Yes.
It's gone by quickly. Been fun and been loads of fun, but it's gone quick.
Yeah, I feel like this year we had our own flash forward. I mean, The
Yes.
Walking Dead did it, and then somehow we went along for the ride. Like, where did all this time go?
Well,
Too
yeah,
crazy.
because in other words, I mean, November's almost over with, and it's like December is just literally right around the corner. It's like, wow.
It's time to start counting down shopping days till Christmas. But now we have something new. Now we can count down the number of days until the new. No, I shouldn't say the new. Until the next part of The Walking Dead. I mean, like, we could actually measure that, right? Didn't they announce that tonight?
Yeah.
So that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, they usually start it like the day before or the day after Valentine's.
It's such cosmic timing.
Yes.
Yes. And let's go over real quick some news from last week. People have been scared about the loss of Rick to the show, or Andrew Lincoln. And, of course, the ratings are down this year overall, but it's holding pretty steady post Rick. Very, very little has the ratings have dropped. And I guess that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting after the break what happened. But it's pretty interesting. Not a huge drop off. So for those who may have wondered, this is the rating number right here on this side. So it's been pretty steady. This is Rick and no Rick. So here we go. All right, so let's get into the episode tonight. So much to talk about. This episode was entitled Evolution. And and it was also the mid-season finale. And I'll read the Synopsis. It says a small rescue mission braves a dangerous herd in their hunt for a missing comrade, only to discover a surprising threat that could doom them all. Now, if you haven't seen this episode, of course we're going to spoil it. So, we're going to talk spoilers. And I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to get right to it. This episode ended with a tragic death on the show. Probably, I think I would say he's a fan favorite. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Jesus, he doesn't make it, unfortunately. And it was a great scene in that it wasn't okay. It was kind of cheesy at first with the slow mo and all of that, but the way that he went out was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was a wicked little twist at how he went out. So it was like you're like when you're watching that particular part of the scene, and it's like when you see what you think is a walker duck, you're like, whoa, he just ducked, and that's then you realize it's not a walker.
No, it's in fact a whisperer. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Yeah, the whispers.
It was a whisperer, and wasn't that the one they consider beta? I think it's the one that actually took out Jesus.
Yes, you are correct. And so, all right. So I know people have been asking for the whisperers for a long time on the show, and we finally got them. Jen, who is our resident expert when it comes to The Walking Dead comic book, did it live up to it for you?
I mean, so far, I think the reason that the whisperers are so terrifying is because it's a little bit different. We've all seen them, the survivors, use walker blood to confuse the walkers, right? And we've all kind of seen how well that works, but what kind of psychological impact it has on them. I mean, it's not just gross. Think about how they segregate the people who they burn and the people that they bury, and why that's so important to them. This group is, I mean, think about what that really means. They're not just, it's not just that they're wearing the skin of walkers. I mean, if you saw how they had to unattach the basic face piece that he was wearing, it's involved. So there's a lot of dedication to doing this, and that is terrifying. And I don't want to say why they do it. I mean, obviously we might kind of know, but there's a whole kind of nice little story that goes along with this, which I hope will unfold in the next part of the season.
Okay, so if you have read the comic book and you do not want to be spoiled, I'm going to read a little bit from the Walking Dead fandom wiki about the Whispers.
Yeah, there's definitely some spoilers up on the wiki.
Yeah, so if put your fingers in your ear if you don't want to hear about it. We're not going to spoil the TV show, but we're going to I'm just going to read a little bit. This really gives you a little background to it. So it's not much of it, or they may consider it. So I believe they first appeared in volume 23, Whispers into Scream, and this was published in April 29, 2015. Not that long ago. And it says, as the threat of a new group known as the Whisperers emerges, tensions arise with the Hilltop after Carl loses his sanity. Many start to question both him and Maggie's leadership. Meanwhile, Jesus, having captured a member of the Whisperers, realized the full scale of the new threat placed on the Hilltop. And, going in. Oh, maybe I should be showing this on my screen. Reading that might help. So it says the Whisperers are a mysterious group of survivors who disguise themselves with roamer skin to blend in with them and not get noticed. They are first introduced in issue 130 Um, yeah, volume, yeah, that was right. Okay, served as primary antagonist group of the series, volume 22, A New Beginning, which was the name of the premiere episode of this season. Beginning to volume 27, The Whisperer War. After Alpha and Beta's death, the group collapses. Okay, so that is, I'm not going to read too much more, but if you want to know more about the group, and actually, I'll add that to the show notes. So,
the reason that I like this particular storyline is because the Whisperers sort of bring The Walking Dead back to they bring it back to a central storyline, which minus the war over resources and supplies and stuff is sort of centered around. Look, there are the walkers, and they are a threat, but the biggest threat to their own survival is basically the living, and in a really sort of an overarching way, the Whisperers bring that threat to life, so to speak, in a way that we haven't seen before. I mean, they sort of like embrace the terror of the dead and create their own kind of like cult society around it. But it still goes back to this core understanding that it is always the living that cause the biggest problem for the survivors, not always the dead. And I find that to be such a fascinating strain to kind of explore and look at.
Yeah, I mean, that's very well said. I agree that that's the case. My question to you, though, is, I know it's very early into it, but do you like this as kind of an intro to the storyline?
Yeah, and it kind of seems like maybe they might be combining a couple of things together, some other storylines together with the Whisperers, which maybe is not such a bad thing. Maybe there's some good things with it. And so I had not heard, because it's been so long, but someone on Twitter had mentioned that back in season 3, Morgan mentioned that he had seen people wearing dead people's faces. So these people must have been around, or some iteration of them must have been around for quite some time if Morgan saw them back in season 3.
Right.
Oh, it was in that Clear episode, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think that's the one. I don't have Twitter up, so I can't tell you exactly, but I even I didn't remember that, so that was good.
You just thought that he was crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, didn't it seem like it, right? I don't feel like that would be too far off the mark.
Yeah, he was a little off. He was a little off the, his cheese kind of slid off the cracker a little bit in that season. So, yeah, him saying that, and it's like, yeah, he's lost it. Of course. Now, the Whisperers have been around, since the beginning, and the only reason that they show up now, they finally got close enough to the camera that we could hear them, because they were too far away. You couldn't hear them whispering to each other. Now they finally got close enough we could hear them.
I was wondering where that was going. Oh, man, you're funny. So, okay, so let's talk about Jesus.
He didn't come back.
I know, all right? He'll be back in 3 days. No, is that blasphemous? But
for a moment, I really thought that he actually wasn't dead. I thought that Aaron would lean down and, he would be like hurt and suffering and whatever, but that they would be able to save him. I was really sad that isn't what happened.
Yeah, that is sad.
No.
That is sad.
Well, especially now because, okay, so now Hilltop really doesn't have any kind of leadership. Maggie's gone. We don't know where she is. She's off screen someplace.
That's
Jesus
another thing
is gone.
is is, okay, we see Rick fly off in the helicopter, and then the next episode is like a 6-year time jump, and just Maggie's not there. Where'd she go?
Well, something big happened. I mean, and I think we get even more confirmation of that tonight because of the talk between Michonne and Carol
Right.
about decisions that were made, and the fact that, okay, if Alexandria is not doing this, it means that Alexandria is looking out for their own, and man, it sounds like something really major went down.
Yeah, and because I for a minute I ain't gonna lie, I was like, did I miss something? Like,
I'm a little bit confused with tonight's episode because I'm like, going, wait a minute, okay, they jumped like 6 years or 5 years, 6 years. I felt like that I missed something. I'm like, what am I missing here? It just kind of with the time jump and Maggie not being there, and why is it that Michonne hadn't been to Hilltop, or nobody said anything to her that Maggie was gone? She didn't seem to really know that Maggie was gone when they showed up at Hilltop tonight. In tonight's
Right,
episode.
and that further reinforces this idea that the communities, other than I think maybe the Kingdom and Hilltop, seem to have some communication together. That seems to be fairly significant. But that Alexandria is sort of the outlier, and they've decided to kind of be unto themselves. That is, and I don't know what the reason is, although maybe it has something to do with Negan. I don't know. It does seem a little bit. Clearly, it hasn't been explained. We don't know what happened, but
Right.
there's other things too, right? Somebody was mentioning something about a mark that each one of them carries,
W.
which I didn't even see myself.
Didn't they show that in one of the earlier seasons?
Did they?
Yeah.
And did I must have just missed it, or I'm not paying attention. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But no,
So
some
some event clearly happened that didn't just break them down. Some event happened that split them up almost irreconcilably. Like there was definitely, that's not a word. Something broke them up that was irreconcilable. Something happened between this group, the groups, that was bigger than even what we saw the last time. And whatever that is, it must have been huge, because I can't even imagine. Although Carol seemed really friendly with Michonne, so it isn't like they're arch enemies or anything. I mean, something seems like it happened on maybe a political level. I don't know.
I'm like you. I'm not sure what happened, or who didn't go see who, or what transpired to make it all this bad blood between them all. But it's just weird.
I do want to point out, though, that I think it was hilarious that the very first thing that Henry does when he gets just a tiny bit of freedom is what every single teenager in the world does whenever they get a tiny bit of freedom.
Went and got drunk.
Went and got drunk.
Off of one drink.
I feel like every single writer on The Walking Dead must have a teenage child or something, because they all seem to know exactly how to treat it. That was funny.
Yeah, of course, he only takes like one swig out of it, and then he's like staggering off through the house. Like, wow, either that's some really strong moonshine, or he's way overacting, being drunk.
Poor kid, probably never has been drunk. But what I thought was also really telling about the Henry scene is that Henry decides to kill the walker when the teenagers think that it's, okay, well, probably not what's her name. She doesn't think so, but the boys think it's hilarious. And for Henry to jump down in the pit and say, if you don't understand why I have to kill this walker, then you're probably not going to understand it at all. That was big. I feel like that was a huge moment. Like, wow, that really shows that Henry kind of understands something on an adult level that they clearly do not.
Right.
Like maybe they've been more protected or something.
Oh no, definitely, yeah. Um, okay, so let's kind of go back to Jesus's death. Oh god, I hate saying that. Um, so let's go back to his death. Uh, you know, we often criticize the show sometimes for not doing it right,
Right.
and this was definitely a. I don't know if it was surprising once he decided to stay there and keep fighting. When he left, but
Right.
it was definitely a sad moment.
Yeah, I think it was. Not only was I surprised, but I was also a little. I guess I was kind of like in a meta way shocked that the show would do that. I mean, like you said, it's kind of a fan favorite, and also it really seems like they are going out of their way to make Hilltop struggle somehow. Oh, as if like, okay, well, everything is going great, and you have the big wide sweeping shots of how big the place has become and how much they've been able to accomplish, and somehow they have to make them struggle, and maybe not having a leader does that. I mean, aside from the other piece, which is showing us, like Olaf said, that the walker slash not walker ducks, that's a big deal.
Right.
It was definitely interesting. Let's talk about Dog.
Dog.
Yeah, don't you love
Dog. Yeah. Very creative name. Took him a long time probably to come up with that. What do you want to call him? Dog.
That's so Daryl, though. That's so Daryl.
Dog.
Do you guys like that? The use of Dog?
You know what's funny? Every time I see the dog and Daryl together, and a lot of times it's the shots that we see them walking away from the camera. I always feel like I'm in a video game. I mean, doesn't it? I forgot which video game it was that you can bring your dog along with you, but one of them was. It's one of those first person. I'm not first person. It's one of those. It's a shooter game, but one of them has it, and I always feel like I'm in a video game with them.
Call of Duty does that as well.
Call of Duty. That was it. That was it.
Right.
Grand Theft Auto, the last one. You can pick the Chopper. And Chopper, you can use him to.
Yeah, but they even gave him a better name. So.
Yeah, I like Chopper. Chopper.
I don't know. I mean, come on now. I mean, that's very original. His name, and that probably took him weeks to come up with. What should we call him? Dog.
I have to say though, he's a really good. He must be really excellent with Daryl, because think about it, right? Daryl used an alarm clock to try to draw off what he thought was the
Herd,
horde,
yeah.
and there was something interesting when the dog starts to bark that they ignore the dog. And you have to imagine that Daryl has trained this dog, or that the dog knows from Daryl, hey, it's in your best interest not to bark when I say don't bark. I've never had a dog do that ever. Sorry.
Well, you're not a good trainer.
Apparently. Ooh, I could see a side business now for Daryl. He could be the dog whisperer of... No, never mind. I won't go there.
of the apocalypse. Okay.
Maybe he could train the whisperer's dogs by being the dog whisperer. No, that's too far. Okay, no, never mind. Anyway.
Yeah, I know. I like that. When the herd shifted, that was a cool scene.
That was.
Right.
They completely ignored him.
The look on his face was like, what the?
Knowing what was coming. I mean, not knowing, because I don't know exactly how they're going to shoot every single scene, but I mean, knowing what was coming, like, okay, we know that the herd is not going to behave the way that we think they are. Still seeing it was still really, there was a huge feeling when I saw that. I mean, there was something structurally wrong in the world. Like, you really get a sense, even when Eugene is saying, no, they actually talked. There's something really heartbreaking about that, because I can only imagine what they were thinking at the time, and the talk about how the walkers might be evolving. Oh my God, that must have been so terrifying to even contemplate. It would have been terrifying to me to contemplate.
Yeah, because evolution of the walkers would be a nightmare, right? Because
Oh yeah.
I mean, it sounded like ridiculous science, but at the same time, so is having people come back from the dead. So yeah, he's kind of right. We don't know what the heck is going to happen.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about everybody's favorite Negan. What do you guys think about, first of all, the scenes with Negan and Father Gabriel? And we'll save the last part of, obviously, his exit. We'll save that.
What did you think, Olaf?
I thought that like his interactions the whole time, Negan was just baiting Father Gabriel. He's just baiting him the whole time, trying to get him to mess up. Trying to get in his head. Because he was at one point they were talking, and he was like, "You should have heard what." So now you've hooked up with Rosita now. Uh-huh. Way to go, preacher. And he said, "Oh, you should have heard what she was saying outside the window." Well, and then like Father Gabriel was, "Yeah, I don't need to hear from you how she feels about me." And his comment, like I said, to get in his head, which it worked, he was like, "I didn't say she was talking about you." So his whole thing is just to get in Father Gabriel's head, which he managed to do.
Yeah, I was just going to say, which he definitely did.
Oh yeah, he got in his head big time.
He got his Hannibal Lecter on.
Yeah, Yep, definitely got his Lecter on.
Do you think that that's why the door got left open?
Yeah, because he got him frustrated, and he got him aggravated and all mad and everything, and he walked out, shut the door, and he was he got him mad enough that he wasn't thinking clearly and didn't bother about locking it. Just said, "That's it, I'm out of here," and left the door unlocked.
I mean, that's pretty big.
Yeah,
that's really big.
That's huge to get that happen. But like I said, yeah, it's all he's using anybody and everybody he can to just try to get in their head and get them to turn against everybody else. That's his whole thing. That's his whole MO is pick him off. Pick him off as soon as you can and try to get the best deal you can out of him.
What do you think about the fact that he was able to walk on out of there? I mean, we knew at some point that it was going to happen, but I don't know how I feel about that.
Well,
Yeah.
It's an interesting development to go in. First of all, it sort of signifies that once again the world is out of order. But remember, Negan doesn't have anyone anymore. So who he chooses to ally with at this point is going to be potentially as big as him escaping, because who is he without anybody? He's a guy carrying a bat. And don't get me wrong, he's a bad guy carrying a bat, but who is Negan without bigger Negan? I don't know. I feel like so much of his time in prison has been sort of hyping him, not himself, but his situation into, see, I'm still the same person, and he did go through some kind of existential crisis, clearly, because Father Gabriel was trying to help him. But who he is now, it can't possibly be the same exact Negan that went into the prison. I just refuse to believe that is even for The Walking Dead, that would be a really big stretch. Although I think he would try to go connect. I think he would try to go, hey, where's my homeboys? I think he's going to be sad.
You think the way it sounds like you think that he may just turn himself in and be like, I don't like this world.
No, I don't think that. But if for whatever reason Negan decided that he was going to lend his strength to either or anybody who maybe was thinking, hey, I don't like the way things are going, and maybe this, maybe that, I feel like that would potentially become one of the reasons that their trucy thing, whatever it is that's going on, might fall apart. I don't know. I actually have a lot of questions. Maybe Negan decides that he wants to put on somebody's dead skin and walk around. That would be amazing.
Do you think that what they're trying to go towards is him becoming a good guy eventually?
No. Well, no, I don't think he's going to go to be a good guy, but I do think that they may, pardon the expression, but they may Christ-like sacrifice him. He does something that is, Negan wasn't all that bad, or he wasn't not all that bad. He wasn't bad in the end. I don't know, something like that.
Because
like he sacrifices himself for some greater good.
Because as it goes along, the people that were most affected by his reign of terror, are starting to drop, right? So maybe the people left behind is like, well, you know what? He has been serving a long time, and it's cruel and unusual punishment. So maybe, how long has he been in captivity? For 6 years?
Yeah, 6 years.
That's a long time. I know that the plan is for him to stay into it forever, but forever is a long time, and he's, it's not like he's 90, he could live a good long time, especially with them feeding him and stuff.
I don't think anybody would actually think that Negan deserves a second chance. Life imprisonment, I think for most people maybe seems too nice for Negan. Certainly it seemed too nice when Maggie was and also for Daryl. I don't think that's the situation. But if Negan thinks that he's going to rise from the ashes, Phoenix-like, and spread his glorious fiery wings and take back over something, I feel like that is a very sad and perhaps at the end of his character arc kind of method to eventually kill him off. Actually, the most cruel thing that I think that could happen is Negan gets a taste of freedom, does some random horrible things, and then gets put back in prison. I feel like that would be the worst of the worst of the worst for Negan.
Are you going off of a comic book, or this is just...
No, this is just my own TV conjecture.
Okay, because, they show him in the next on, I don't know if you saw it, where he's doing the little whistle thing, and then he's got his bat, and it looks like he's, possibly gone back to his old ways. But what
does he have? He's got nothing. Carol incinerated everybody.
It's probably a misdirection, though. A guy like him, right? You would think that he would just find new people, if he an empire once, in his mind, at least in his mind, he probably thinks that he can build another one.
Okay, so yes, I see what you're saying, but I have to wonder, though, if, first of all, the situation isn't the same. And weapons are now, it's 6 years, and weapons are now almost obsolete because there's no bullets. So, what few ones there are, they jealously protect. And so I don't know if the situation could even be that way. Like Negan Negan is going to need to reinvent himself in order to become some big bad again. And I don't know if that's actually where they're going. I don't.
Well, no,
That feels wrong.
I think I'm not saying that I want it or it's what I think is going to happen, but the thing, and I'm more or less saying that what he may intend for himself is for that to happen. I'm not saying that it's going to happen or that he can make it happen. I'm just saying that he may be thinking at this point in the story that you know what, I'm going to build an empire again. If you think about it like this, if you think about it like this, the governor, just using him for example, he was this guy that controlled his own territory and he was the leader and all of that stuff, and then he basically lost everything. But then he got a new army and was able to, to basically almost get back to where he was at.
So just, everybody who hasn't read the comics and who doesn't want to know what happens in the comics, because maybe it might be some weird spoiler, although we're in sort of an alternate universe at this point, you should definitely tune out. In the comics, the Whisperer War it's a thing, and Rick is there for it, and Rick actually lets Negan out of his cell. And at that point, he's not allowed to live with anybody. He's just allowed to live far away from everyone. But things kind of escalate, I guess, with Negan sort of trying to make, not amends, but sort of like make a kind of peace. Because it sort of in the similar way to what happened when Maggie sees Negan in the cell, that's basically sort of the end result of what happens with Negan when she sees him and he's living in the outpost or at the outpost. He's so depressed, he's so upset, he's so whatever. She can't even bring herself to think that he's the same person in that sense. And so my gut feeling says, once again, that they must be planning on doing something with him that would maybe further that idea. That's kind of what I think. But I also, again, they kill off characters so dramatically, and Negan seems like the perfect character to get involved with the Whisperers, do something that sabotages them in some way, maybe for his own gain, but it ends up being for the good of everybody. And so, he's not as reviled and hated. Maybe who knows? That's just kind of, I just get this weird feeling like maybe he's not going to go out as a bad guy, or less of a bad guy, not a bad guy.
To me, I don't know, like the way that the Negan story, he probably should have died. And I understand that in the comic book, they did essentially the same thing. But honestly, it feels like, unless there's some kind of grand plan, it's like, what's the point of keeping his character around? We all like, the actor, obviously. But, I don't know.
Yeah, there needs to be some conclusion to the Negan storyline, I think that's true. I feel like narratively that needs to happen. But my guess is that will happen or in a proxy sense with the Whisperer War, because the Whisperers are many.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not just this little group. There's I shouldn't say it's not just a little group. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I remember years ago when we would do this podcast. Cindy, who was on the show last week, she would be like, I remember she was like, "Oh, is this going to be the Whisperer storyline?" Like she was all into it and stuff like that. Like she was hoping, and she used to always talk about it all the time. So And wherever she's at, I'm sure she's excited about this storyline.
It's such a good story. I mean, and again, it just brings back and reinforces some of the harder horrors of The Walking Dead, which have been not missing per se, but not as focused on, because we've had this huge sort of gang style war between the camps, and so this definitely brings us back to the kind of visceral horror that is supposed to be, I think, more of The Walking Dead than we've been seeing in the past couple of seasons.
Yeah. Gang style war? Hilarious.
Gang style war? I don't know. Turf war? Turf war maybe is a better word.
What is it? The Jets and the Sharks?
The Jets and the Sharks. Oh my gosh. If any of them start snapping and clapping, I'm out.
I think Olaf is all for that. He's definitely all for that. My hope is that the storyline is pays off pretty well. So we shall see. Okay. So
I liked the ending. Not the ending, I shouldn't say, but I liked I guess kind of the ending. I liked the way that they left it with them being, the mist was really kind of cool. I have to say, I didn't think I was going to like it. I thought it was going to be super silly, but it really worked. And I really liked the idea of them being surrounded and not being able to make out a single voice. And it's just like one cacophony of whispers around them. That sounded so amazing. I was actually really impressed with that. I liked it a lot.
We do have a rule on this show. No use of the word cacophony.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I wasn't aware that we were supposed to use less than superlative syntax and vocabulary. I'm sorry.
Cacophony.
I'm sorry.
You can't say cacophony.
I'll dumb it down.
There you go with them big words again.
I promise I'll keep it. I'll bring it down to
four letter at the minimum. Six letter max.
Oh, 6 letters. That's it. Okay. I'm sorry. My notes were apparently very wrong. So.
Yeah, it's six letter. It's like maximum 6 letter. Otherwise it's too complicated.
Yeah, this is The Walking Dead. This is not the Outlander.
Oh, wait. Before we get any farther out,
time's up. Move on.
I just have to mention something that I thought was like sort of cool, in that when Daryl was out there and he said, if anybody's going to stay out there, it's going to be me. Why do you think he said that?
I think this is their attempt at showing like leadership quality.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. That's exactly what I thought. Thank you, Kinte.
Yeah.
I thought they were trying to show him stepping up to the plate a bit.
Well, it's partly that, and the biggest thing is he's kind of like a redneck, so he's the only one that's going to survive out there for any length of time.
And I would go ahead and say, brother, you can go ahead and do that. I am going to not go out there. Yeah.
Because if he hadn't done that, then might have been him shanked in the back by a whisperer instead of Jesus. Just saying.
Well, obviously,
could have been, yeah.
Well, Jesus had to make this ultimate sacrifice. Well, let me stop. Every time I say anything, it just sounds so blasphemous. We'll call him Jay.
He will be missed. He will definitely be missed.
We're gonna miss Jesus, yes.
Also, they finally just got his hair right. What the heck? Then they got to kill him off. That's really sucky,
Oh, somebody said, did something big happen in this episode? And
no, not.
Jesus died? No. Oh, man.
It was only big if you actually cared about the character.
We care about Oh my God, the blacksmith kid.
Henry?
Yeah, Henry and Edith.
Oh, and Enid? Oh gosh.
Yeah, you must say Edith. Edith.
Did any of us think that that was actually going to work out? Because, I
No,
mean, I didn't.
no.
I definitely didn't.
Poor guy.
He belongs with the nerdy girl. He does.
Why you say that?
Because she's awesome. Clearly, she's just absolutely awesome.
Why is she awesome? Because she's a nerd.
She turned her, well, yeah, I mean, the inner nerd in me says, yeah, that's exactly right. Because she even turned her back on raiding the walker. That says something. She's got a good heart.
She did what?
She turned her back on when they were mistreating the walker. When specifically when they were in the pit or at the pit, she was the only one who said, or who turned around and walked away.
Well, actually, he should go with. What's her name? Enid?
No, Enid is the other one. Enid is the one that Henry saw kissing the boy, and that he clearly thought that he had a chance with her.
That's who I say he should shoot his shot.
Why?
Why not? That's the girl.
I don't know. I think she's too sophisticated for him.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. I just think she is. Also, I just think he should end up with somebody more. What's a good word for that? Somebody more his intellectual speed.
Okay, how's it?
I don't think Enid is. I don't think she is. I think Enid is way too. Huh?
Too what? Way too what?
I think Enid has grown up way too much to be interested in Henry, because she has taken on responsibilities that were massive, bigger, I think, even than Henry has taken on.
Okay, first of all, Henry beat the crap out of Justin. So,
but that doesn't, just because he beat somebody, or a lot of people actually, just because he beat people up doesn't mean he's matured. It just means he's good with his hands.
Beat the hell out of Justin. Do you remember that, Olaf? Wasn't that a great scene? Best scene of the year.
You are so mean.
You know what? Let me find that scene again.
Track that scene down. Let's let's really critique that scene.
Yeah.
Play it in slow motion.
And this point right here, he was thinking, yeah, we need to break it down.
No.
Don't get me wrong. I love Henry. Henry is an awesome, but can you imagine Henry bringing Enid home to Carol? No.
Why not? She's a doctor.
It just, no. Enid is not right for him.
Why? You still haven't explained to me. Because
I just have a core feeling that
you just
just not
him with a nerd.
Henry's too sweet. He's such a sweetheart. And Enid is so, I don't know, she's hardened. She's like jaded. I don't like that. I want Henry to stay sweet.
Well, you know what? A good woman like her will keep them sweet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, just as a mom, I'm saying, I think that boy should just stay sweet. He should stay just sweet as he is.
He'll have him a doctor.
I don't know. I mean, partly, okay, it's the end of the world, right? So if you can hook up with anybody, you're probably doing pretty well.
There you go. You get it.
I mean, that's what I would say.
But you just want to see him with a damn nerd.
As long as you're not dating a walker, you're probably in good shape.
Oh yeah,
that'll probably be me.
Those relationships never seem to turn out well.
I know. I'm the one that'll probably be dating one. Hey, she got a little bite to her.
I think the governor tried that, right? I mean, he didn't date a walker, but he was trying to rehabilitate a walker. I don't think it turned out too well for him.
That was easy. That was And gruesome. Talking about a gruesome theme, yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
I agree.
But
I totally agree.
no, I think uh, they really went out their way though to really um, make an effort to Olaf.
What I do? I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
It wasn't you. You know, as a mid-season finale goes, this was not what I expected.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I guess I expected something bigger. I mean, it was good. Don't get me wrong. I had a great time. It was really entertaining and it moved pretty quick. But I don't know. I just felt like in seasons past, mid-season finales are so they're bigger cliffhangers, I guess. I mean, I know everybody's stuck in that little area, and I get that that's a big thing, but it just, I don't know, there's something that feels kind of like anticlimactic. It just didn't feel like, oh wow, this is the big fireworks of the mid-season finale.
Well, Jesus did die.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Life.
Well, they did leave some pretty good clip. Okay, Jesus died,
Again.
and Negan got out.
Yeah.
And they just showed him like I mean, as far as he may be still sitting in the cage. When he comes back next. When the season starts up again, he could be just sitting in the cage going, neener, neener, neener. I could have got out, but I didn't.
There's no way. There is no way. The moment that Negan knew that door was open, do you know exactly what I thought? I thought that's why Michonne told him where Lucille was. Remember how Michonne told him where Lucille still was? I immediately had that thought, like, oh yeah, okay, that's exactly why they said that. Michonne had to say that out loud because Negan had to go find it.
Right. My first thought when, he figured out the door was open, my first thought was that he's going to get out.
Okay, Captain Obvious.
Yes, it's been a weird day today. I can't help it.
That was funny. Oh, wow, that was one of your best. Okay, so all right, what are you guys most excited about for the upcoming? What's the thing? What are the burning questions that you want to answer?
Well, I guess one is what will happen with Negan. That seems to almost overshadow most stuff. Two, I guess, is what really happened between Alexandria and Hilltop and the Kingdom that made them separate so dramatically.
Right.
I would really like to get an answer to that. And the third thing is, will Daryl ever name dog? I'm hoping. I don't know.
Well, he already got the name dog.
True, but he could see the light and decide no, he actually needs a personality. I don't know. Possibly.
I just have one.
Wouldn't it be great if Daryl named his dog Eileen? And then every time he called the dog, he could say, "Come on, Eileen." He could sing. No? Oh, okay, never mind.
No.
I feel bad for the dog. I actually feel bad that the dog does not have a name.
The dog's name is Dog.
It makes it easier for the dog to die and us not to care about it. If it has a name, it really does mean more. I don't know. It feels like it means more. I guess it doesn't.
I think you should name the dog Lucille.
Am I a bad person? Because even if the dog had a name, I wouldn't. It's not like I'd be like, "Oh no, the dog."
Yes, that does make you a bad person. Yes. Here and now, I will say yes.
Bad, Kinte, bad. Bad. Bad Kinte. I just have one concern for, the next half of the season is, will dog survive?
Have dog will travel?
It's like, if dog will survive past this season.
No, he's getting easy. Come on.
I don't know. That would kind of be a potent leadership symbol too. I mean, Ezekiel has a tiger, Daryl has a dog.
Ezekiel had a tiger.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Tiger's dead.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put it in that. I'm so sorry, everyone. For anybody who's got hurt feelings, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I just mean as a symbol. As a symbol.
Okay, as a symbol, he's dead. Just like your boy is dead.
Yeah, yes. Well, nobody's using Justin as a symbol, except me. I have him printed on my pillowcases now, so yeah.
Yeah, I think that whole using an animal as your symbol thing has worked out.
Well, it's like I mean, it does seem like there's, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I mean, they use animals every now and then to sort of portent stuff. But I mean, the last time that I feel like they really effectively used it was way back when they were looking for Carol's daughter, and the deer was, I mean, that was huge. But they don't really use animals other than the tiger, which was, a weapon. They don't really use animals in The Walking Dead as to kind of mean anything. Even the horses feel nondescript.
Yeah. And I think they just killed off the tiger, because it was like, okay, let's not stop using this because it's probably cost too much money.
Yeah, our CGI budget is done.
Yeah, so then they say, well, let's kill this. It does last a lot longer on the comic book.
Something that has not been brought into The Walking Dead yet, of any sorts. You haven't seen anything when you talk about the animals. We've not seen a blind walker with a seeing eye dog.
Like, if you were blind before you were a zombie, can you see now?
I don't know. Good question. Would you still need the seeing eye dog?
Yeah, and then also, if you were handicapped before, like you had a bad hip, like
well, you would if you had bad hips or whatever, you'd still have them, but so you'd just kind of drag yourself along and really wouldn't care because you don't feel the pain.
Because you're dead. I mean,
because you're dead.
Yeah, I don't think you actually really care.
Is there a thing called zombie hip?
Yeah, because that's why they kind of walk kind of weird, because most of them, the hips are shot.
People are listening to this and going, "These guys, really?"
It's like going. It's like did you really have to bring him on tonight? Really, you let him on? Really? Oh my God!
Like these guys are adults.
There was a really interesting, I think it was a Reddit thread that talked about whether, if you are turned a zombie in the zombie apocalypse, whether things like cancer continue to grow in your body and stuff like that. And the answer is no, because your body is decaying. Right. And it's decaying, I mean, in front of them. One line that really stood out to me tonight, though, which I thought was kind of cool, is I forgot who it was now. Shoot. Maybe not Daryl. One of them, when they were standing on the hilltop or the hillside, and they were looking down at the zombies that were the walkers that were basically mulling around kind of in a circle, right? And he says, well, have you ever seen them do that before? And then they start talking about the evolution and all of that. And then somebody says, they keep coming. That to me is sort of like an important little line to put in, because once again, we don't know what's happening in the outside world. We don't know what's happening outside of the fields or the theater that we have right now, unless you're also following Fear the Walking Dead, and then of course, that there's other stuff happening. But outside of those theaters, there could be huge pockets of civilization which have been protected from walkers or that haven't been exposed yet. And as those pieces begin to turn, as more and more of our civilization begins to turn, more of those walkers will continue to filter into all these other areas. So for them, it's like, okay, the threat of the walkers doesn't disappear just because their bodies are decaying. It seems clear that they are being somehow replenished from another place, or another population continues to bring more walkers down. Because these walkers are the walkers from before. They didn't look as decayed, even at a 6-year mark, that I would have expected, right? They weren't just like falling apart and in the trees, and because we've seen that before, right? We've seen that in a couple of other scenes. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I understand exactly.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. I think that overall, like, you have really turned or reanimated, and then you have some walkers that they've just been around for so long, decaying and rotting, and all of that kind of stuff. So, it's a kind of a mixture of both. And
right, but the fact that they are being replenished, well, replenished isn't the right word. The fact that there are clearly walkers without advanced decay says that there are walkers coming in, that there are newly turned coming in from somewhere.
That's what I mean.
They're not indigenous to just this area.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, saying that it's a mixture of both.
Right.
Newly decayed, as well as the old school walkers from, dang, can you picture that though? Like, people who've been walkers for like so long, they just been roaming around. What a tragic life, or death. You've been a walker like for 6 years, you've just been,
I kind of feel like that's sort of not, I mean, I don't think that that's why Henry did it, but I feel like that's one of the things that separates the living who understand that, killing walkers isn't just about killing walkers to maintain your own safety. It's you kill them because it absolutely is the right thing to do. It's awful to leave them.
Yeah, kill me. If I'm a walker, take me out. I'm giving y'all permission. I don't want to stay like this.
Oh, okay. Do you have a preferred method, Kinte?
Yeah. I want a woman who has big. No, just kidding.
Wow.
Let me not say that.
You just want to be smothered.
As a walker, I
There we go.
don't think you're actually going to notice, but.
Well, I mean, do it before I turn. Yeah.
Oh,
right.
There you go.
Turn, some lady pick me out that way.
Wow, that's horrible.
No,
that's actually really horrible.
It's actually lovely.
I don't want to be the one responsible for that.
Oh, well, I mean,
I feel like we could be relatively safe here on this island, because all we would have to do is basically concentrate and get rid of the walkers that appeared, right? And then we could get busy rebuilding society and stuff. But we're on an island. So it's not like, the walkers aren't going to learn how to fly a plane tomorrow and land a bunch of walker tourists or something. I feel like we'd be pretty safe. But
the problem is that everybody's, so it's people were to
now, Jen, you remember in the movie Pirates of the Caribbean, it's like there was one scene where they're like going, "Gentlemen, let's take a walk," and they walked.
If
so
the zombies,
they could get to the island.
If the walkers are going to walk across the Pacific Ocean, I'll be dead by the time they get here of old age. So I feel okay with that.
They're not. Yeah, they would be walking, not running.
Exactly. I mean, they've got some pretty big hurdles to get over, so I'm feeling pretty good about my chances.
But it'd be the ones that come from the other islands, not just from not like that part. It'd be coming from the other islands.
Oh, good point. Good point. Well, in that case, we'll just have to hope that our resident tiger shark population takes care of them.
There you go.
All right, so let's Oh, I want to real quick say rest in peace to Ricky Jay. I don't know if you guys know Ricky Jay, an actor, magician. He died on the 24th.
Yeah.
He was in a lot of stuff like Boogie Nights. He was in a lot of films by David Mamet. He was in quite a bit of stuff. That fantastic magician, fantastic actor. Very, very sad. He'll definitely be missed.
He had a big storied career.
He was 70 years old. So
wow.
He was in a lot of stuff. He was a very and if you've ever seen his magic, his music was great, So the first movie he was in was this movie called House of Games, which was a David Mamet film. Really good stuff, and also he was in The Spanish Prisoner and Boogie Nights.
Spanish Prisoner is a good movie.
Great, isn't that such a really good?
It's so underrated. It's a good movie.
I love David Mamet's work. Really good stuff. So definitely check him out. Fantastic. All right, so let's start off with you, Olaf. How can people get you on social media and all that good stuff?
Well, you can stalk me on both Facebook and Twitter under Olaf Barbosa. It's like, as I say, is like, don't stalk too close because I do get nervous and I do have an itchy trigger finger. Yay. Couple other announcements with me that are, well, at least another one. Come this Tuesday, I will be on local TV. A lot of you know that I do volunteer as a Santa for the local animal shelter. And this coming Tuesday, I will be on local channel WHAS 11. I will be in my full Santa gear, talking about talking about doing the with the animals. It's like working with the animal shelters and the Animal Rescue League locally. So that's what I got coming up Tuesday.
All right. And what about you, Jen?
So, okay. First of all, you can find me on Twitter at followingbliss1. And you can find me on the web at criticallaughs.com with two L's. Excuse me. I do want to say that Movies Make the Meal this coming month, is going to have a big Christmas section. I've got 10 separate Christmas movies that I have already pre-watched and created little recipes. And then I've got 2 big Christmas theme nights. So lots of recipes, lots of movies to watch, lots of ideas to sort of make things feel cinematic on Christmas Eve or during a Christmas party, and some out of the way ideas about Christmas cinema that you may not have heard about but are really worth watching. So be looking for that. It's at www.moviesmakethemeal.com.
All right, and you can get me at Kinte F on Twitter, and also you can get me at Kinte Ferguson. That's KinteFergerson on Instagram, and of course you can get our website, indyradio.org. That's indyradio.org. You guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll catch you back 2019 to finish up this season. You guys have a great rest of your night. God bless.
Thanks for listening.